We started out with 3-note chords, triads. For example, we learned C major, F major, G major. Then we added 7th chords, starting with the dominant 7th chord. We added minor chords. Then we went back to the 7th chords and changed them up, added all kinds of alterations, and came up with all kinds of different 7th chords. Now we move on to the higher numbered chords, the 9ths, the 11ths, the 13ths. They all have an important place in popular music. They contribute color, richness, and even a little bit of dissonance that sounds good. These bigger chords give you a bigger range of possibilities, and I want to help you get familiar with the names, the principles, and the construction of these chords, and help you get used to hearing how they sound and how you can play them on the keyboard. Let's start with the 9th chord. Like the simpler chords, a 9th chord is built on thirds. It consists of a root. Here we're going to build it on C. The root, the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, and the 9th. Now, unless you have freakishly large hands with long fingers, it would be difficult to play all 5 of these notes in one bunch like this in the right hand. So 9th chords are usually played with the root in the left hand and the other 4 notes in the right hand. So to better show you these possibilities, let's switch to the overhead camera. When playing 9th chords on the keyboard, they're often played with the root in the left hand and the other 4 notes in the right hand. And you have 4 possible voicings in the right hand. You can do it this way. Here's another voicing. This one and this one. Now the most common voicing is when you put the 9th on top, like this. But they all sound pretty good, don't they? If you're playing stride piano, then you play a root in the bass, and then you play the other 4 notes, some voicing of the other 4 notes, after jumping up into the middle register. Now, it is also possible, of course, to divide up the notes of a 9th chord between your 2 hands. Usually, the root is the lowest note, and then we've spread out all the other notes on top of it. There's one way of doing it. This one's pretty nice, or that's a very popular way of playing a 9th chord. Now, a chord that's related to the 9th chord, we can call this the 9-6 chord. You remember before we talked about the 6-9 chord, where we add a 6th to the triad and then a 9th. This is basically the same chord, only the notes have been rearranged. So we're going to play these 4 notes here, and we'll put this down here. You can call that a C9-6. And then we have a chord known as the add 9, which includes only the 3rd, the 5th, and the 9th. The 9th usually does not appear on the top, but it is placed just below the 3rd. And so you end up with this, which usually will resolve to something like this. If you play a group of minor 9th chords and move them in parallel motion, this almost sounds like a big band brass section. The 9-6 chord has a more stable sound, and it's often used at the end of a song. So we might be playing a song that sounds like this. There's our D minor 9. And here's the C9-6. The add 9 has the effect of coloring and softening the sound of a major chord. So it's the difference between playing this, which is just your typical block major chord, if you add the ninth, now you've got these three notes. And it kind of softens the sound. So there's your introduction to ninth chords. And we've only covered the ninth chord that can be built on the first degree of a major scale. So notice all the notes in this ninth chord are also contained within the C major scale. Your task, should you choose to accept it, and I hope you will, is to find all the ninth chords based on every note of the chromatic scale. So, you remember a long time ago we did this with just major chords. Now we're going to do it with ninth chords. So this is C major 9, and then we're going to raise every note of this ninth chord, all 5 notes. We're going to raise it half a step. So the C goes to C sharp, the E goes to F. Let's call that C sharp. Let's call it D flat. Goes to F, G goes to A flat, B goes to C, and D goes to E flat. Now, can you tell me the name of this ninth chord? Well, of course, it's D flat major 9. And now you work your way up. By the way, notice I'm using 2 hands in order to play the chord. You can do it any way you want. You can play 4 notes in the right hand and the root in the left, or you can play 3 notes in the left hand and the top 2 in the right, or you can do it the way I'm doing, playing the root and the third, and then the top 3 notes. So there's D major 9, E flat major 9, E major 9, and so on. I want you to listen very carefully to the sound that you are making. Big, fat, beautiful ninth chord. Now you can also do the same thing with the 9/6 chord. This would be D flat 9/6, D 9/6, and so on. You can also do the same thing with the C add 9 chord. D flat add 9, D add 9, and so on, working your way up the chromatic scale. You can also practice playing parallel major ninth chords. And then you can throw in a C 9/6 chord to soften things up a bit. What we're going to do in the next video is deal with the chord that can be built, the ninth chord built on the second note of the C major scale. And that turns out to be a minor ninth chord, so we'll talk more about that in another video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like this video, it helps the channel a lot. And I look forward to speaking to you in the next one.